Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Medeo here with today's pose of the day, tree pose. I'm going to break down the final expression of the pose and then we'll work through some modifications. So I wanted to do this first to just go over some common misalignments or give you some tips as you work more deeply into the pose. So standing wherever you are, maybe you're at work, it's cool, we can just work on this pose there. Shift your weight over to your left standing leg and bend the leg. And notice when you do that, the whole body kind of leans out to the side and the left hip goes out to the side. So that's the first thing I want to bring to your attention. You really want to deeply activate your abductor muscles. Those are the glute muscles that push your leg more into the midline of your body. So that's kind of the first tip I want to give you for your tree pose. Also coincides with the biggest common misalignment here. We jut that hip out. The second thing I want to bring to your attention is that anytime you bend a leg, and we do that often in our yoga poses, the pelvis generally shifts out of alignment. So I'll just show you here without being conscious of anything. If I bend my leg, the right hip flares up and the left hip will go down. Or if I jut my hip out to the side, I lose my balance and the hip tilts to the other way. So if we put both of these things into action, i.e. we're going to drop the hip of the bent leg and energetically engage the muscle of the opposite leg, then that's when we find our balance in our tree pose. Another little tip I want to give you, I hear a lot of people say, oh, my foot's sliding. I call it the slippy foot syndrome. But in truth, it's not activating that outer glute muscle while at the same time pressing the sole of the foot into the standing leg. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I take the sole of the bent leg foot and I place it here and I don't actively firm the outer left hip in, the foot will slide down. So if I firm the outer hip in and at the same time press the sole of the foot into the leg, the foot doesn't slide down. So you can stop blaming your yoga pants and start engaging your glute muscles and you'll be all set for your tree pose. So remember, as you engage the outer hip, you drop the opposite hip down so that the pelvis is nice and level. So if I were to draw a line from hip point to hip point, they would be level. From here, we'll work on the upper body. So you're engaging the pelvic floor muscles, pulling the belly to the spine, drawing the shoulder blades in towards the spine, and the arms reach up. Arms are externally rotating. That means rolling away from the middle of your body, and the pinky finger slightly spins in to facilitate that. Crown of the head reaches up, and your drishti, which is your gaze, is just past the nose, or you can find a spot on the floor or out in front of you to gaze at. And release the foot. So we'll work the modification on the second side. So grounding the right leg down, the first stage would be to curl the left toes under and just place the heel to the inside of the right foot. This is the most stable position we could have. You can also use the wall. And just being here, you can work on those same principles we talked about. So in this case, you would firm the outer right hip in. Those are the glute muscles. Slightly drop the left hip down. Pull the belly in and up, shoulders nice and level, crown of the head reaches, and reach the arms up. Remember, the shoulders are rolling away, pinky side of the finger slightly turned in. And take 2 breaths. So the next stage would be to place the sole of the foot onto the shin. And if this action is not quite happening, you could take a block or a book and use that as the same kind of building up a little bit of the pose, just giving you some more height. So either one is good. Again, same thing's gonna happen, firming the outer hip, at the same time dropping the left hip down. Everything's still the same. The final placement of the foot would be to place it all the way to the inside of the right leg. And the common thing that I see most students do when they're transitioning to this kind of final level is that they don't reach and grab the foot. You actually need to. It would be nearly impossible to place the foot that high up without grabbing the foot. So there's nothing wrong with, don't think of it as a crutch or anything. You have to take the top of the foot and place the heel of the left foot in this case all the way as high up as you can to the inner right thigh. Notice my left toes are pointing down. Hugging outer right hip in, dropping left hip down. I'm actively pressing the sole of my left foot into my right thigh, and I'm hugging the outer right hip in. Good. From here, hands can come to prayer. Spread the shoulder blades apart or away, and then reaching the arms up, affirming the triceps, which straighten the arms, rolling the shoulders away, pinky side of the finger in. And you can hold here for 3 to 5 breaths. And when you're ready, release the hands and release the foot. I hope that you enjoyed these tips for your pose of the day. Namaste.